Ron Perlman's got a pretty good face.
Man,
Yeah,
you know what? That's a competition right there. Bigger face, Skylar or Ron Perlman.
Find it on Facebook.
2008. That'll be our this or that for 2008.
Bigger face.
Bigger face. Bigger face.
And then uglier face. We'll pit Lady Gaga against somebody else.
How you doing? Are you feeling okay?
Schrader, I'm blocked.
We're working, okay? So you got to get out of here. Working?
Schrader,
Oh, you mean
we're
like
missing it.
DEA working?
Schrader.
Something going down?
Wrong guy, other bench.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I am Mayor Dave Badeaux from the city of Brainerd, and with me, as always, is my brother.
I didn't ask to be born. Yes.
An appropriate amount of pause. Just appropriate. Gabriel Johnson?
Dave, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. What say ye?
I say let's get into it.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind. 2008.
It was like last year, wasn't it?
We have officially reached the end of our Be Kind Rewind series as we move forward before we rewind all the way back to 1977. So this is going to be the last year that we consume the content moving forward. Then we're going to go back and start all over again. And the reason for that is we're getting pretty close.
We did the iPhone last time.
Yeah.
We've got a couple here that are just mainstay platforms.
Things that showed up and then now probably won't go away for another decade or so. Mm-hmm. So if you're joining us for the first time, the Be Kind Rewind is the episodes of the podcast in which we talk about a specific year. In this case, 2008. We've been doing this since 1988, both actual chronological years and on the podcast.
Yes.
Started with 88. We've done every single year, and it's been a journey. What we learned along the way was that it's kind of fun to see how time progresses and how media and stuff kind of makes its way. Introduction of new things, a couple of those here, and then just kind of fun to see where life goes and look back on the things that are still around or morphed into new things. This is the episode where we talk about specifically all the pop culture, news, TV, music. Next episode, part 2, is the movies of 2008, which I don't know if you guys know this or not.
Pretty good year.
Yeah. We're not going to be able to talk about all of them for sure because it's a great year.
Watched Iron Man for the first time
First time ever?
First time ever.
Okay, keep it to yourself because that'll be next episode for sure. So stay tuned for that next week. This week, all about pop culture, and it starts off with the soundtrack to our lives. And in 2008, the world was introduced to the Gaga.
2008.
Lady Gaga.
Gaga.
Get him high, show him what I got.
Gaga!
Can't read my.
About as big of a music star as it gets.
Yeah, and actually now gotten into movies as well. Mm-hmm. So an interesting little, curve to the cycle, if you will.
I could be wrong, but I think her first hit single was Poker Face. That's the one song I know.
Pretty sure you are correct about that.
All right.
Not a bad song. Not a bad, little tune. Interesting trajectory. Just appeared to just come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Meteoric.
Yeah, you would call that. If you got into her, her history and stuff, probably in the clubs.
Highly educated, private schools.
Yes.
In all the right places. Yeah.
Yeah. Knows a few people, gets the right connections. But then explodes on the scene. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning was always covering her face. You remember that?
Well, I could tell you why, Dave.
Okay, let's talk. Why?
But her face.
That's a poker face? And that's probably about all we need to talk about Lady Gaga. But
she ugly.
Yeah. It is kind of... Okay, let's actually get into it. I'm sorry, folks. Let's get into it. You hid your face for like the first decade.
Yeah.
We should look back at when the first time she actually uncovered her face was. Because it was every time you saw her, she had something up in front of that noggin.
Probably the time she wore the meat dress.
I was
'cause
gonna
nobody
say.
was looking at the face. They were looking at all the bacon.
That's a great move. Like, wait a minute. You have to like rewind that, go back to the tape. Like, she doesn't have a mask on. I was focused on all the meat. Interesting choice for a lady too, to just dangle meat.
Yeah, she's a weirdo.
Yeah, she is a weirdo.
She's an artist.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll go. All artists are weirdos, but
Yeah.
she's an artiste. Pretty good though. Now I'm actually kind of impressed by her acting chops.
Yeah, I've never seen her in anything.
Like you just kind of see small things here or there, but now she's, been in some more predominant roles.
Well, yeah, she was in that what A Star Is Born.
Mm-hmm.
That movie.
The remake
That
of the
was
remake.
about Lady Gaga, wasn't it?
So it's a remake of a remake. So it's not about Lady Gaga.
Yeah, wasn't it made in like the? We talked about this with Christopherson.
Yeah, it's all the way back to the 50s or maybe even the 30s, the first one. And then Christopherson in the 70s. And then again with her and Bradley Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
But those things that's like the 8 Mile role, like,
Yeah.
hey, play yourself for a little bit.
Yeah, but before that, she was in American Horror Story.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Never watched it, but
You've never seen American Horror Story in general?
I watched the first season a little bit.
Yeah.
But not really.
Callie religiously watches that show every episode or every season, every episode, loves it. I have found so it's by the guy that made Nip Tuck, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, couldn't finish the first season of that one.
you're gonna start off with something, and then eventually you're gonna be like, I don't know where we went wrong here. All right. So also with music though, and I think this is really interesting, Spotify.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which has grown to become the platform we listen to music on.
Yeah. Were you guys purveyors or consumers of Spotify?
I probably started Spotify in like 2013, maybe
Okay.
2012-ish.
Okay. I didn't look up to see when this happened, but so this is a British service is where it started, or at least I take that back. It's a European service. When I discovered it, you had to opt in. It had just come to America. I was an early adopter of Spotify because this was when I was working as a graphic designer. It's actually when I started getting interested in podcasts, which is right when this is getting close to when we started doing podcasts.
Yeah.
But Spotify came and you had to like sign up through the beta or whatever the trial was that they were just launching in America. And you had to get on a waiting list as well. And
Got to make it exclusive.
Yep, got to make it exclusive. And it was interesting. It was the first time that, at least from a streaming service from like music, that like you kind of got what that was.
Yeah.
There
was Pandora.
Yes.
Everybody used Pandora.
I used Pandora until probably 5 years ago. And I still do. There's still a couple playlists I have on Pandora that Spotify can't match.
Yeah. Pandora is great. Spotify kind of
Pandora is great radio.
It's great radio. That's just it.
Spotify is great playlists.
Yes, and that was
individual songs.
And that was the difference. So you could actually go in and select what song you wanted to put, on your playlist. Still had the ads coming through.
Okay.
But you at least could create the playlist, which was a huge advantage.
Yeah, way different.
At this time, I was so tired of Pandora because it was like, and as a graphic designer in general, I've talked about that's why I got into podcasts. I had consumed like every bit of music that I could consume because 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, I'm sitting at a computer listening to music. And then you go home and you don't just stop listening to music. I tend to have music on most of the day. And so I was just tired of it. It's like, I can't listen to any more anything. Like really, I consumed all of the 90s alternative, all of it, burned through that hard. Then shifted into whatever I could get my hands on. That's when, like I said, I had gotten into kind of that Beck. That's when that stuff started to roll in for me.
Oh yeah, Beck released an album in 2008.
Beck released an album every year from 2001 to 2000, probably till 2075.
Every year we do this. I'm like, oh, Beck.
But anyways, very interesting service. You guys consumers of it now?
I use it every day.
Every day, same.
I use it for podcasts every day. I still use it for some music. I go back to Pandora. I mean, the Billy Joel playlist station on Pandora. And if you just like 70s and 80s pop rock type stuff, fantastic.
I use Pandora when I want to put on Italian cooking music.
Oh, nice.
We blast all that in the kitchen while we're making pizzas.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
But yeah, use Spotify every day. Great service.
Yeah, my reason for liking it is exactly that. Now it is my streaming service that I pay for. And I don't know, there's just an unbelievable amount of music. That's what I like about it. My problem and why I finally bit the bullet on paying for the service, you can't play the same ad every time I listen to your service, which is what happened with Pandora and then eventually happened with Spotify as well. You can't have 3 ads. You've got to have there's got to be a rotation of ads.
Right. An ad is okay every once in a while.
Yes.
But not when it's the same fucking
And then it
over
plays
and
back
over and
to
over
back.
again. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then you do it like day after day after day. Finally, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't listen to it. So, but pretty cool. Very interesting that this is 2008. And it is, like now you look at like Joe Rogan going there, you look at the podcast that went there. I mean, it just became this gigantic part of what people do. It is its own subsect of life, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, how much money did Rogan get paid?
A lot.
It was like 500 for
Yeah.
10 years or something.
Yeah. Hey, but then, then they have your catalog as well, which problem being they deleted some of that stuff. And I do have a huge issue with that.
Yeah.
But when someone,
especially when it's the N-word.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like as a person that has created content like us, right? If somebody just went back through and was like, no, we don't like episode 7, 10, 11.
Everything that mentions a finger bang is out of here.
Yeah, well, I Know But podcast is no longer around.
Yeah, where are those first 150 episodes?
Okay. That is a personal
That was content
choice.
curation.
That
That was
is
an artistic choice.
that is self-preservation. I do not have the time to go back and listen to those episodes, and I have no idea what we talked about. First of all, we were drunk in most of them, so I have no idea what we talked about in the first 169 episodes. So someday you'll get the full uneducated cut. Yeah,
yeah, when you're dead.
Subscribe to our Patreon. We'll hire an editor to.
we could. That's a great idea. Yeah, we could do that. Just have someone like go through and pick out episodes that we, or maybe less.
We made you laugh, but we weren't Max.
Anyways, all right, let's move on topics. Folks, Gabe likes to talk about many things. But Gabe, I think you had said on this, viral videos.
What is that?
What is a viral video?
What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know. What does that mean?
Oh, fuck it. We'll do it live.
Really?
2008.
Oh, nice.
Thing sucks.
It was the video surfaced in 2008. It was Bill O'Reilly on like Inside Edition in the early 90s.
Yep.
Didn't understand what his producer was talking about. Just flew off the handle, yelled at it to play us out. To play us out? What does that even mean? Like, fuck, we'll do it live. And that is enduring to this day. I say fuck it, we'll do it live probably at least every week.
That is a staple of our drops on the podcast. Absolutely 100%. And yeah, it couldn't have been 2008 when it
It was like 92 or something when
really?
it happened. But
Okay.
it was 2008 when the first time people saw the video. Because it was an outtake of a show. It wasn't part of the real program.
Okay. Is it Inside Edition? Is that what it was? I didn't know that. You learn something every day. That's pretty sweet, actually. Especially because this is exactly when people are now scouring the internet for things to laugh at. Sweet. And?
The Rickroll
Oh,
Yes.
no.
got big in 2008. It actually was first happened at 4chan in 2007, but didn't hit mainstream until 2008. It was like April Fool's Day 2008. YouTube Rickrolled everybody.
And that's when it became huge.
Yep.
I got a take on this.
All right.
A couple years prior, Always Sunny in Philadelphia introduced this back into.
He was jamming in his car, yeah.
I'm not going to say that this is for sure what happened, but having now went back and watched Always Sunny in the time frame that we did, when that came up, I thought to myself, this has got to be pretty close to when this first came back.
Yeah, I think they rickrolled us. I think it was right after it got big. They were filming an episode and they're like, Dennis, when you're in the car, we're putting on rickroll.
I'm going the other way around. I'm pretty sure this happened before the rickroll. I
think they picked the rickroll picked up on this song because of the show.
They started. They used it in an episode, which is crazy because most of their music is, like the stuff you think of now, just the B-roll music that gets way overplayed. But they were the first one at it. This was one of the few songs that actually like came on as an actual song. It plays during the episode, and then they close the episode out. So the episode rickrolls at the end. I am going to claim, internet, that they are the original rickroll, and that then the rickroll.
I'll give it to you. The guy who takes credit for being the 4chan guy to invent it says he just picked it because he was born in 1987. He Googled popular songs in 1987, and Never Gonna Give You Up was number one.
It was number one? Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was a big song.
A big song. Yeah. For just a random redhead dude.
Yeah.
Great moves, though. Great moves. It has become a part of internet reality and life. It's a good song. You can't get mad at it.
It's a good song. My kids love it.
It's a good song. Go back and watch that. It looks kind of doofy, right? But
the oversized overcoat,
a little
bit of dance,
a little bit more. He's got more of like a shimmy. I would call it a shimmy.
Yeah, it's like a Trump shimmy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost a Trump.
Yeah. a little bit. Yeah. Almost like if Trump wasn't so worried about Mexicans and too worried of being a little too close to salsa.
He's got a little shuffle to his
little
feet.
more salsa into it. Trump took it and said, like, no, you gotta build the wall.
Yes.
I like it though. 2008.
It's a couple of big ones.
That's actually huge. We don't rickroll a lot on here because it's it's pretty played out at this point. But I think it might be coming back around.
You can probably only get about 2 beats of the rickroll on a video.
Oh yeah, before they shut you down, which is weird. They shouldn't. Once something becomes a meme, I'm sorry, you've lost all of your.
It's public domain.
Yeah, it's public domain.
At least the first 10 seconds, the bumper music amount of it.
Yeah.
The only amount you need.
Yeah, until I realized.
Nobody ever listens to the song. They press play, they click on whatever they want, and then it starts, and they go, God damn it.
They watch Dick Swing longer than they watch the rickroll.
Yeah, probably. Well, does it go around again? It does. Yeah, probably. Although I'm going to argue that I think it's time to just let the rickroll play. I think it's time to let that play fully out again. I'm on board. It's a great song.
Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and hurt you. Hello?
Hey, Dennis, it's Dee. What are you listening to?
Rick Astley. What's up?
Oh, nothing, only I just solved all of our problems.
It got the shaft right there with the dick. Right there with the meat
Right
spin.
there with the dick.
With the meat spin.
Sorry,
the
I'm
meat
not
spin.
familiar with it.
What year was that, Gabe? What year was the meat spin?
Never heard of it.
All right, let's move on from there super fast. In the news in 2008, I got a quick one, okay?
Yep.
So when we were growing up, a man murdered his wife. I'm sorry, a man allegedly murdered his wife.
No, he killed her.
Well, if he did it.
If he did it.
And then he just happened to be a football player that was, maybe one of the bigger football players to ever live at that point. Movie star. And his name was OJ Simpson.
The man ran for over 2,000 yards in 14 games.
In 14 games.
Unbelievable. All-star. And then he was in Naked Gun. Okay.
The Naked Gun.
His wife ends up murdered. A waiter ends up murdered. Who knows what happened?
He's still looking. Well, he's not anymore.
He's not
looking anymore.
Who knows what happened? But a lot of people thought he should have been convicted for murder. He was not. And that's the way our legal system works. You have a trial. If you got
Jury of your peers.
jury of your peers. A decision is made. Guilty or not guilty.
You're not guilty. So you just get to live the rest of your life peacefully without being harassed or
Ever again. Never again.
any problems.
But in 2008,
In 2008, there was a little bit of a problem. OJ Simpson got sentenced to 33 years in prison.
Holy shit.
33 years. Did he kill somebody else?
No, he stole his Heisman Trophy back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
he attempted to. He didn't even get his
yeah,
trophy.
he didn't even get it back. He didn't even get it back. I think that this
Well,
is.
he came in guns blazing, didn't he?
I don't think he fired a shot, but it was armed robbery.
Yeah,
he had a
okay.
gun.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but still,
Right, 33 years.
33 years. And even if it is armed robbery, right? And don't get me wrong, people, way out of line.
But this guy had no criminal record.
No criminal record. That's true. That's what I'm trying to say. No criminal record.
Made one mistake trying to get his own shit back.
I love the idea that, and I said this beforehand, this is the Al Capone tax evasion. Like, we can't get you on all the other shit, but God damn it, tax evasion, you're going to prison for life. It supposedly, his story, at least, OJ's story, was that this guy stole all this stuff from him and he was stealing it back. Right? So this is all this stuff that he had that was taken from him, and he went in to get it, and the guy's like, no. And so then they went in with guns.
It was like a memorabilia show in Vegas
Yeah,
where somebody was there trying to sell all OJ's
Sell all
shit
this
at a sports show.
So then they went up to his hotel room. So he got charged, I believe, with kidnapping as well, right? Which is such a weird thing, too.
But yeah, you hold somebody in a room with a gun, even if it's their own room, you kidnapped them.
well, I don't know about that. It's like impending exit.
According to the law, he did kill his wife and he did kidnap this guy.
30 years in prison. I had to add that to our list because what a cap of events,
Yeah.
right? You go through the trial of ever, right? You could say the trial of the century, but probably the trial of history.
Yeah, that's what they called it, but there will never be another.
No, there will never be another like that.
Casey Anthony's was pretty big.
Well, that was 2008 as well. But Gabe, she's back on TikTok. She's going to tell you everything that
I can't wait to watch.
really happened when her child ended up in a tote box on the side of the road. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that anymore.
Gross.
But don't worry, she's going to tell you all about it, how and why her parents are to blame. But the OJ thing to me is just wild. And not that I think that he should or should not be considered guilty. He was found innocent, which then he goes to the
Is
civil.
that a thing? I don't think that's a thing.
Well, it's not a thing found innocent, but
shouldn't say
it
found.
wasn't a hung jury or a mistrial. It was a unanimous vote
Yes.
by the jury that he was not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah.
Okay, so found not guilty. Okay, which in our society or in our legal system means you cannot be tried for that again. But if you can go steal your shit back, we're going to dredge up what happened before that you were not guilty of.
Yep.
And the civil trial stuff I also think is bullshit. If you are found not guilty criminally, the civil should fall.
But
in
you're
line.
responsible for
But
it
you're
anyway.
responsible because, she's dead. And that's your fault. Not that you killed her.
Right.
But on the flip side of the coin, if you kill your wife and her friend, the waiter,
Yeah.
and you get away with it, don't do armed robbery.
Yeah, that would be my guess. I'm not saying he's a genius.
Yeah, no, you go away.
Yes.
Go away forever.
Take your money and run.
Literally,
Yes.
run.
Yeah.
They're going to be after you.
Yes. And then don't write a book called If I Did It.
Yeah.
Because you know what's going to happen then is all your money's going to go away, which is a nice segue to 2008.
The money all went away.
All the money, all away.
So 2008 was the housing mortgage bubble, the financial crisis where some major banks in America went under. Everybody lost their homes.
And everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. Go watch The Big Short. It'll tell you everything you need to know about it in an amusing fashion. Very well done. Adam McKay, which is crazy. Now this is moving forward, but we're in this part of 2008. We are right in Adam McKay's wheelhouse.
Yeah, The Big Short tells a great story, and it goes back to 2005-06. And I would say our news on the podcast has followed because you had those construction workers in Miami who were tricked into blowing up the Sears Tower.
Yep.
They were out-of-work construction workers in Florida.
Yeah.
You know the housing bubble is bursting when you see that.
Yeah. So I think the crazy thing about that whole story, and we don't need to talk much about it, but it changed the trajectory of the world, which is crazy. And it all stems back to Bill Clinton and some decisions he made about deregulating, which I'm usually for, the housing, the way that loans could be created.
The deregulation that they blame was trying to get money in people's pockets who may not be the most creditworthy.
Yes.
But the reason for the collapse was all of these credit default swaps, where the
Yes.
banks were saying this is AAA rated stuff.
Yeah.
When normally, if it's somebody who doesn't have great means to pay, they're not going to get a AAA rating on Wall Street.
Yes.
But if you get 10 million people
them
who have no
together.
ability to pay,
Yes.
that's somehow AAA rate. So it was all Wall Street. They're blaming Bill Clinton and deregulation and whatever. It was only Wall Street.
I don't mean that to blame Bill Clinton. I'm just saying it goes back to.
I'm not defending Bill Clinton.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because let me just stop you there for a minute. You know, the man had some acquired taste. But no, it's funny just coming from a political standpoint or from being a mayor, right? Like there are things that you do that you're like, this is the intended purpose of this.
Yeah.
And then someone, and this is what we talk about all the time, it's not about who's asking you. It's about the next guy that's going to come in and try to use what you did for whatever purpose. And you don't know who that guy is or what he's going to do. You have to assume that he has bad intentions, whereas nefarious, whereas this person has good intentions, and that's what happened.
And you have to try to look ahead and see what could the negative second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand results be. What is Wall Street going to do when they can financialize this?
Where will we be in 25 years? We say it all the time. Where will this be in 25 years? And that's exactly what happened here. And it's crazy that basically, like you said, you take all these people that probably can't pay their mortgages. Mm-hmm. You set up mortgages that have balloon payments that are meant to get them out of their homes so that you can take the homes and sell them. And on a regular one-to-one basis, not a bad idea as a bank. Oh, I own that and now I can sell it and I'm going to make money off of it. Mm-hmm. But when you start grouping them together and then selling them
by
as
the
a
millions,
product,
and it's like only 10% are going to fail, but the rest will be able to support it. Not when everything collapses, interest rates go to 10% and we're all on 5-year arms.
And
it's over.
And you don't have the ability to sell the house because now all of these houses have went under. Mm-hmm. You can't sell it when there's no market for it. It's unbelievable that it happened and that it was allowed to happen.
It's crazy that it's happening again. That's the fucking crazy part because it is currently happening right now.
That's not crazy. That's how stupid we are. We're fucking morons. And again, this is why we do the Be Kind Rewind. It's not just to talk about what shows we like. It's to talk about why we're so stupid and why we keep doing stupid things again and again. Anyways, hey, speaking of shows, can we move on to the last topic here? The meat and potato of every Be Kind Rewind is the television shows. Before we get to that, super quick, TV in 2008 takes a wild shift. Mm-hmm. We had our Netflix. You're mailing your DVDs back and forth. At this time, I'm mailing DVDs back and forth.
Got the staircase.
Go watch it. But in 2008, a service was introduced. Gabriel Johnson.
Hulu was introduced as a free ad-supported internet television service.
Yes.
And this was a conglomeration of some 2008 names. Let me read them to you.
Yes, read them, please.
So this is Hulu was invented by AOL, NBC Universal, MSN, and MySpace.
Oh, really?
Which was owned by
Tom.
No, the Fox News had bought him. It was a news corporation, owned it at that time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But so that was some 2008 names.
Yes.
Fox News? What did you say?
News corporation owns Fox News and also helped start.
Yeah.
But
And MSNBC. Wow, okay.
Yep. But I mean, since then, it's been passed around as much as Bonnie Blue, and I think it's owned by Disney now.
Yes.
Something.
Well, so then at some point, all the other television groups latched on. Mm-hmm. So it was like NBC and ABC and Fox were all in it together. It turns out ad-based streaming, at least at that point, didn't work because they seem to think it works now. They seem to think ad-based streaming works now.
Well, no, because it's now $15 a month and ad-based.
Yes. They've ruined the part where over the air, I just pick up my TV signal. And then because I can do that, they're like, watch this ad for a little bit, which worked really well. And I'm surprised that we don't get back to some of that. But Hulu was interesting because it was the first time that I was aware of a television streaming service. Mm-hmm. Much like with your Spotify, right? Mm-hmm. You could pick what you wanted to watch. You could pull it up, go through the process. Like, this is exactly what I want right now, on demand, streaming service. And I think you had said that like Arrested Development was on there. That was like their push.
When I first discovered it, when I lost my house in 2008 and I was on the street watching TV,
just pulling up a service.
I found Hulu. And yeah, Arrested Development was like the first program I watched on there and loved Hulu. Love Arrested Development.
Yeah, so Arrested Development had been canceled. One of those shows, it was kind of like Family Guy, where it came on, got canceled. Everyone was like, this shouldn't have been canceled. Do you know what I hate about, and not to talk about Arrested Development, but do you know what I hate about Arrested Development? There's a point in that show where it just becomes them begging the people at Fox to not cancel them.
Yeah.
The whole episode, every episode is just like, you like this, right? Call up Fox, which was like funny like the first time, but like at some point it was like, oh, you're kind of begging me now.
Yeah.
And especially going back to it now where you're like, yeah, but then you lost and then came back. And
Yeah, then like AOL picked him up.
It's such a weird thing.
But no, but that worked for Community. They had to beg like their last 2 seasons. Like, come on, 6 seasons in a movie. And they got 6 or 7 seasons. They never did get their movie.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting. Hulu now, obviously a huge ordeal. That's what we do our live television through to watch football and stuff. Super expensive though. It's like $90 a month for live TV through them. And I don't know. I think their streaming service is okay.
It's okay.
It's
we
okay.
have it.
I have it. I use it.
I don't know if I do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like the
all right.
one that I got rid of.
Yeah. It's
Still have most of the other big ones, but not Hulu.
yeah. It is. Yeah. It's on the outs. All right. Let's get real here. There are 2 shows that are big shows that came out in 2008. Both, I think, to me, have kind of a 2 different trajectories. One was a slow burn. One was a bright burn that maybe burned out a little too quickly in some people's eyes. We're going to go with the first one, and then we'll move to the second one, as you would do. That's really a stupid statement. We're going to start with one, and then we're going to do 2, and then when we're done, we'll stop. The first one, Sons of Anarchy.
Bit of a slow burn.
Bit of a slow burn. Bit of a slow burn on the show itself, but in terms of like how it came out and people enjoying it, this is FX. This is FX coming off of some of their big hits, you know, because we had Nip Tuck, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm trying to think of what the other one we had on there was. They had some pretty big shows.
But they were major players in primetime television.
Major players.
Yeah.
Major players. So Sons of Anarchy comes out. People loved this show.
I loved this show. Yeah.
Did you? Okay.
I don't think I consumed it in 2008 because I remember watching it with my wife and we weren't married yet.
Okay.
But great show, fun weekly show. But going back in 2025, you're going to have 1 hour program that has 26 episode seasons. Like
26 episode seasons,
something like that,
and like 8 seasons, 7, 8 seasons.
Yeah, it's a
Holy
lot of fucking content.
It's and it is slow.
It's a motorcycle club that's dealing arms for the IRA, the terrorists out in Ireland, in Southern California, and it's kind of cool. You know, they fight with some meth biker gangs, and they fight with some other biker gangs, and it's fun. But now I tried rewatching the first season, and I don't think it holds up.
How far did you get? Because that's the main question of these episodes: is does it hold up?
Well, of what I would guess is 26 episodes, I probably watched 4.
Okay, all right. So I'm on a slightly different trajectory to you. I was big into FX. I loved FX. It had kind of become like the thing that I would kind of hang my hat on. It's like a new show's coming out on FX. They're usually pretty good. This one did not catch my attention like I thought it should. And maybe it was the day it came out. I don't know. I don't know what it was. There was something about this show in particular that I just didn't get into it then. So I've always looked at it as one that I wanted to go back and consume because there's so many people that say that they love it.
Love it.
It is so slow. It is such a slow show. I got a little further than you did. I'd say maybe 8 episodes at most. But it got to the point where it was like, I can't consume any more of it. It's kind of like what happened with Prison Break.
Yeah, very similar.
I got to a point where I was like, I just can't consume any more of this. You know what my biggest problem with it is? Everyone in that fucking show whispers. They all whisper. Pam Bundy,
That's the Irish in us.
could you please speak up? Could you please say one thing at a normal volume?
But you can't talk like Peg Bundy.
Well, I understand that.
Be Leela.
Do
That would have been fun.
anything. Every time she talks like this. And after 5 episodes, I was like, I can't listen to this fucking character talk anymore.
Yeah, so after I quit watching it after 4 episodes, I decided I liked it back in the day when we watched it because it was a motorcycle gang selling guns and blowing shit up.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool. I watched it with my wife, and I realized my wife likes it because Jax Teller is a thirst trap walking around with his shirt off, trying to make the gang stop selling drugs and do illegal things.
Yes. It is very interesting. Like it was very clear why this was a successful show. 100% this was driven by the lead actor and women's desire to continue to watch the lead actor, which is also, he's got such a weird attitude in it too. There was like a point where I was like, this is the character from Dazed and Confused, the kid, the younger kid that pitches and always is pinching his nose. Yeah, it's like him if he grew up like a couple more years
and joined a motorcycle
gang. Okay. He's like just got this real aloof, like
he is, because he's really conflicted. His dad
Yes.
started the gang. His dad has since died. But he found his dad's notes early in the first season, like his diaries or whatever.
Yeah.
And his dad didn't want to do illegal things.
Yes.
He wanted to be
a hippie.
A hippie on the up and up. This was supposed to be a commune, so let's go in that direction to honor my dad. I was like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, first of all,
go blow some shit up.
Yeah, guns.
Yeah, hippies.
More guns.
Hippies suck. They could have done a good job with that, where like what they needed to do was put him into situations that are more violent, right? The situations where like really crazy shit happens, he's never involved in it.
He comes riding in after it's all done.
Yeah. So, and that's the problem with the show more than anything. It's like, I don't hate the conflicted character, but like he should actively always be working against them because he doesn't want them to do that shit and doesn't want to get caught doing that shit. And there's a little bit of that. And maybe as the show goes on, it gets more. I just couldn't.
But I think he does crime. I think he kills Clay.
He does, and that's the other thing, right? Like he is involved in crime by the general nature of what he's doing.
Well, being the president of the motorcycle club, running Irish guns,
and from the very beginning, right? Yeah. So. I don't know. If you like Sons of Anarchy, and I believe it had a spinoff called the Mayans.
Mayans, yeah. So one of the gangs they always thought was the Mexican motorcycle gang. They had a spinoff that lasted a few seasons too.
Yeah, the best part of the show to me is it's almost like a GTA type game where they just kind of keep expanding the circle of where they are. Mm-hmm. They did a good job of that. Of like, here's their core, but also there's this smaller subsect of their gang's outer rim, if you will.
Yep.
They did a good job with that. And it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. This is not a terrible show, but I fell asleep to this show multiple times. Like fell asleep. And that doesn't happen to me very often.
I really enjoyed this show 10, 15 years ago. Just how we consume media now, this type of show, the length and the number of episodes, it's tough.
Yeah.
So you have to be anticipating it and looking forward to it for an entire week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. Cause then it's like, I don't want it to be over.
Right.
This is like, I have endless quantities of this. The pile of meth beside me is not running out. When the meth is just running out, that's a problem. Hey, speaking of meth, there's a secondary show that came up here and it is called Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Love it.
Thoughts on Breaking Bad?
One of the best shows ever made.
One of the best shows ever made. Easy.
Went back, consumed, confirmed, one of the best shows ever made.
Yep. I went back, got about halfway through season 2 over the last week and a half, and confirmed.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that? So you got to that point, did you just run out of time? Or did
I just didn't put in the A+ effort for this episode today.
Well, thanks. Hey, everybody.
I was looking up some fun facts about Breaking Bad.
Yes.
And, in the first season, his son, he has cancer, starts cooking meth to leave money for his kids, right?
Yes.
His son's a high schooler, and his son created a website
Yes.
called SaveWalterWhite.com.
Yes.
Still exists. The actual website on the show, I double-checked, it's still up.
Can you donate?
It brings you to AMC.com. when you're trying to
Come on,
donate.
guys. Come on.
The other fun fact, those motherfuckers don't actually teach us how to cook meth.
On purpose, they just give you a false recipe.
I don't know what they left out, but it's not real meth.
They actually refer to one of the ways they're doing it as old school biker meth. Fun fact about that, I had read that the actual blue product that they create is a cotton candy flavored rock candy.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, somebody had said cotton candy flavored. That's just sugar. So you can't say it's cotton candy
blue-
flavored.
blue sugar.
It's,
sugar.
it's sugar and air.
Well, yeah, but
air.
Yes, but the flavor is sugar.
Yeah, but it's very specific. Like cotton candy flavor is a very specific thing.
It's sugar.
But I think it's the hot air that puffs it out, which
Okay.
gives it the flavor.
Sure.
There's a science behind it.
Okay.
Adam Ragusa on YouTube. Check him out.
Okay. So the fake flavor, they're like, add more air to this fake flavor.
TV methamphetamine, the way we made it with a little blue tint, is actually rock candy, and the flavor was cotton candy rock candy.
Great show.
Great show.
Callie had never seen it. She came in. I had already started one episode. She came in halfway through. I was like, we'll start over. You can't come in halfway through Breaking Bad. She is now on her own trajectory watching it on her own because our schedules are completely different. She loves it. Thinks it's great.
I bet she really likes Skylar.
The worst. The absolute worst. I was going to say it's a show of great characters.
Yeah.
But then you bring up Skylar. Oh.
Yeah. Well, this show stars Bryan Cranston. It also stars the Elephant Man.
The Elephant Man.
Skylar, the Elephant Man.
Wow.
Have you seen her face? It's gigantic. She has the biggest face in the history of faces.
It's a giant face.
She's a huge.
Well,
watch
Ron Perlman's got a pretty big face.
Man,
he does.
you know what? That's a competition right there. Bigger face, Skylar or Ron Perlman.
Go. Find it on Facebook.
2008. That'll be our this or that
Yeah,
for 2008.
bigger face.
Bigger face. Bigger face.
And then uglier face. With pit Lady Gaga against
Yeah.
somebody else.
We wouldn't know. She's got a mask on.
We love women.
No.
No.
I like.
Don't ruin our brand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So far, I've just talked shit about the two lead ladies in the two shows. But she's
Don't
terrible.
forget Peggy Bundy. Terrible.
I didn't hate her character.
I think it would be great if it weren't for these fucking women.
I didn't hate
Just more dudes, a little more dance.
more dong. Peggy Bundy's character in Sons of Anarchy is actually kind of a cool take on like that. She's pulling some strings, and she knows that she needs this, right? And her son is trying to get away from it, and so she's kind of making sure that some of these things that he's trying to do aren't happening. That's a good character, but you can't.
Yeah, she's the matriarch who is pretty much in control, but nobody knows it.
Well,
Except for the viewer.
nobody knows because she just whispers all the time.
You are the only one this boy's got.
Skylar does not whisper. Skylar screeches.
Yes.
And it's horrible.
And then when Skylar thinks she's in control, she's still not, but just even worse.
She's one of the worst characters of all time. Like, honestly, I honestly think that she's one of the worst characters of all time.
Yeah, she
Which
was on
might
our
make
list
her
of
one of the best.
She was on our list of best villains.
Yes.
Might have been a first round pick.
Might have been. But it's a great show, minus her.
Great show, great ending. I love shows that have good endings.
It's got a good ending. It takes a while to get there. So I consumed all of season 1 and all of season 2. Season 1 is better than season 2. I think the show gets better again. Like the Tuco stuff, and when they kind of dip their toe into the Mexican mafia or cartel.
But that's how they introduce us to like the rest of the series.
And that's what I'm saying. Like season 2 to me is probably the lower of all the seasons. And really for me, it's spoiler alert, the plane crash You know, that arc
Yeah.
has the worst payoff.
Puts the bunny in the pool.
It's the worst payoff because you've been dripping this at the beginning of every episode. There's this bunny in the pool, and clearly there's been an explosion, and they do this little bit at a time, show you a little bit. Worst payoff in the history of television, I think. It's almost lost levels of worst payoff. Thank God that was not the end of that show. Thank God it was just the end of season 2, and then you get to go enjoy the rest of this show. I just watched a thing with Quentin Tarantino where he's talking about TV series and how he kind of loses interest on TV series after about 2 seasons. And it's funny because as he was saying this, I was like, thank God somebody else is the same way. I am exactly the same way that he was saying. Because
I'm exactly like Quentin Tarantino.
No. I had never like understood out loud what it is that he's saying. I like stories that have your arcs. And we've talked about, like, I like a crescendo. I like your arc. The problem with TV series is that you're extending it out so much. And in the case of Sons of Anarchy, you're overextending it to where they become soap operas. So it's about the interpersonal connection between the characters, but you need that to be longer and longer and longer and longer and longer.
Right. So in cinema, you get picked up for a film, and you got to do everything then. Maybe you're going to get a sequel or a trilogy.
Yep.
But in television, you get your pilot picked up,
and then you need to go.
And then maybe you get a season. And then how do you know you're going to go 9 seasons? Nobody's going to get a 9-season contract to start with.
Yeah.
So what they don't do is have a good job of having like end of arc, that also has a bigger arc, which is tough. Don't get me wrong. Season 2 gets more into this interpersonal communication type stuff and drags it out a little bit, but it still has this ability to keep moving towards the ultimate goal. And there's only 5 seasons of this show. It's
nice.
Yeah, it's excellent. Even finishing season 2 and being like, okay, that's my least favorite of the seasons, I was still like, this is still an amazing show, and I'm still interested to take the journey with these characters.
Also had a spinoff,
Yes.
Better Call Saul,
Yes.
which I enjoyed about 2 seasons of.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, at some point you just, okay, we get it. We get the shtick.
Yeah, I've not watched any Better Call Saul.
Okay.
Or El Camino.
Oh, yeah.
right, El
I
Camino,
forgot about
too.
El Camino, yeah.
Yeah, 5 seasons in a movie.
Final thoughts on it. Jesse Pinkman, good character.
Good character.
Yep.
Good character.
I like Walter White better in the beginning, and I understand it. It's Breaking Bad. He's becoming a bad guy, and it's the whole premise off of this. Who's the creator of the show? Gillian.
Vince
Gillian.
Gilligan?
Gilligan?
Vince.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking Terry Gilliam.
Vince G.
VG.
The
are the
VG.
initials, yeah.
Yeah. Started on X-Files. Had this initial concept. It was him and another writer from X-Files. They were out of job, and they just were joking around saying they should just travel around the world in an RV selling meth. So that's where the initial concept came from. But he wanted to write a story about a character that turns bad. And so it's a great way of doing it, right? It's a noble cause at the beginning, a noble guy, and then slowly turns into an absolute piece of shit.
I've said it before, but I'll reaffirm it here. I think one of the things I love about this show is that every character is bad. They're not even like flawed people. They're all bad guys. Everybody in the show is bad.
Yeah.
Even his brother-in-law, who was a cop, was stealing drugs and Cuban cigars, and the law doesn't apply to him. He's just an asshole throwing people away that he doesn't like.
Yeah, his wife is literally stealing $500 tiaras.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a fantastic show. It's very well crafted. Dialogue is good. It's pretty quick and snippy.
Except Walter Jr.
Except for Walter Jr.
Oh, no.
I said except Walter Jr. before I processed what you were saying. Not the speediest.
Oh, man.
Not the speediest.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. The quickest.
He just wants to help his dad.
The quickest to throw up in the history of throwing up, by the way. Which is that's one of the things that I find interesting about the show is when they're trying to show that he's just like evil. it's weird to me. Like when he's making his son take shots, right? He's like, oh, he's a bad guy now. But then, you know, when you put him into a better situation where like something actually fucking actively kind of evil happens, like the first time he actually cries, which is like, it's just well done. I think that's better than drink it, kid. Take that shot.
Yeah, that just reminds me of my drunk uncle.
Anyways, so let's go. Breaking Bad.
Absolutely great show. Tim Severson pointed this out to me years and years ago about how differently you view the show on a second viewing. Because your first time through it, Walter White's the protagonist. He's the hero of the show. You gotta watch it, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, what's he gonna do next? This guy's sitting now. He's turning into this fucking badass. But then the show ends, and when you go back to watch it again a couple years later, you're like, oh shit. This guy sucks.
I forgot he started out as such a dork.
Well, and he starts off as a dork, but he's actively like, it's kind of like one of those things where he's like, he's taking characters that are like bad askew, right? Like they're bad adjacent. Like Jesse Pinkman is just a fucked up kid that's probably going to go to prison.
Just a vulnerable kid who needs a little adult influence in his life.
But he's just got, God damn it, Gabe. He's just got, he's going to go to prison, but he's going to go to prison for like a mild thing, right? Like,
right. He'll have a little bag of pot. Or something in his pocket.
Yeah. And then here comes this guy that's like, no, we're going to take this to 11. And then along the way, ruins people's lives and literally has people end up dead, you know, for multiple things. It's crazy to me, like you said, the first time he's just kind of, he's a little bit bumbling, you know, and that's what's fun about it is like, how's he going to get out of this type of thing? It's like, how's he going to get out of this hijinks? But by the end, you're like, oh, no. This guy's just a terrible human being that makes bad choices all the time. And it costs people their lives.
Yeah. Pinkman.
Yes.
Aaron Paul?
Yes.
Sounds
his
right.
name? How they got the acting chops out of that guy that they did blows my mind. Because there's some scenes in the show where you watch him acting out a scene and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That guy acted the fuck out of that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of characters in this that are not good actors.
Right.
And the whole show feels very good. Feels very good to watch. My favorite scene in the entire show, at least the first 2 seasons I watched, the one where their guy is going to get, he has to do a fake bust to get the other, you know, the guy that's going to go to prison for him. So their guy's sitting on a bench. The other guy's going to come. That guy's going to go to prison. He's going to be Walter White, right? But if you watch that like as a viewer and like with my stupid ADHD, like it's one of the few scenes where they film it like out in public. And so I'm like watching it and you can like see in the background, like they've got a car that's just sitting in the middle of the road parked. And if you look at it, there's a barrier in front of it. And then you can kind of like see on the outside of it, people are actually still hanging out. So if you look like closely in the scene, you can see, oh, they're shooting this and they're trying to make it so you think that it's still a street and it's being used. But like if you look really closely, you can tell it's not. And the best part is when he pulls up next to their car to distract them, as he's pulling up, there's just 2 dudes sitting in the window of the building next to him, just like hands, almost like hands on their chin, like exciting to watch this show. Like nobody's like, get out of here. All right, we better move on. Final thoughts on it.
Incredible show.
Yeah.
Incredible show. I haven't been able to watch it for the last couple. I typically watch it every couple of years. I'll go through it. But it hits a little bit too close to home with my wife.
Okay.
I haven't been able to watch it for a while.
Yeah, you're going to get that from time to time.
I remember telling her, you haven't seen Breaking Bad? We should watch Breaking Bad. And she just goes, no. All right. Heard.
Hey, everybody's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's a bad guy. All right, we were going to talk Wipeout. I think we're going to have to move on from it. We don't have time. So,
what is there to say about Wipeout?
Well,
it's Takeshi's Castle for Americans, and people get destroyed in this show.
Yeah.
Somebody died.
Somebody died.
Let's put that at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, you made it this far.
Yes.
We are going to shift gears real quick to end this episode. First of all, 2008, awesome. Check us out next week when we talk about the movies. But you made it this far. We are in the middle of Name of the Year.
Woo-hoo.
So Scott, let's take this away. We got a little bit of time, so let's push this forward. We have Name of the Year. These are real names. Round 1 has happened. This is round 2. The votes are in. The decisions have been made by the public. You can participate by going to our social medias, finding the link to any of the times where we have the matchups happening, Facebook, YouTube. There's also a Google form, which seems to be the way that people still prefer to do it. And Scott, the winners of the Elite 8.
Yeah, so I just have the Google Docs.
Yep.
Here?
I put the other ones in.
You tallied everything else?
I tallied them
Okay,
in there.
Perfect. All right, so in our first matchup with the number 1 seed, Soon Bang, versus, what was it, the 8 seed?
The 8 seed.
8 seed. The name of historical importance.
From 1959, maybe.
Yeah. Soon Bang versus James Cockbreath.
James Cockbreath.
He's not a baker. He's not a smith.
But he smells like
cock. Huge victory.
Oh, really?
For Soon Bang.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about the historical importance overtaking the name of the year.
It's the correct answer. I was super nervous because when we put polls up on different social medias, every social media has a different take.
Yeah.
Like YouTube's decision on movies is way different than Facebook's. Typically that's like age groups, right? Facebook was hard on Jimmy Cockbreath.
Yeah.
Hard for the Jim Cockbreath. I was nervous. I looked at it and was like, "Oh shit, did we do it?"
Right.
And then I pulled up something. Oh, okay, we're fine. We're fine.
kind of a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, like I expected Soon Bang to win, but not by this much.
I think like our listeners probably understand where we want to go.
Yeah, but that's
with
only
it.
like 6 votes.
No, that was Facebook. Facebook, we get like thousands of interactions on, do you like this movie or this movie? Hey, do you like Soon Bang or Cockbreath? 6.
Yeah, so over 80%
Okay.
of the votes
That's
went
huge.
to Soon Bang.
That's
Huge victory.
Yeah, that's huge victory.
Our next matchup, Justin Burley Beavers
That's good. I like
versus Unikite 13 Hotel.
It's the 4-5 matchup.
it. Yep.
And with 62.8%, moving on is Justin Burley Beavers.
That one surprises me as well. I was a Unikite 13 Hotel.
I like a hairy vagina.
I didn't even think of it as being hairy. I was thinking it was like it had broad shoulders.
Yeah, I think burly like a bear.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
Yeah, big and burly, furry.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So I thought you would like it.
For some reason, the fur didn't come into it for me. I was just thinking of it as like, that's a large vagina. Okay. Callie said Unikite 13 Hotel is dumb. She actually said straight up, she goes, that's dumb. And I told her the story, and she's like, it's still dumb. I was like, it's not dumb. Like, that's the child's name.
Yeah, yeah, that is a human being's name.
Yes. Yeah. It's probably about the time that if we should tell you, there's a whole episode before this that you can go back and watch that has all of the selections for these names and all the stories.
And backstories on all of them.
Backstories, yeah. All right, next.
All right, next up, we have Jizzle James.
Oh, Jizzle James, bros.
Versus Oliver Garden Wilkes.
This one makes me nervous.
Well, it shouldn't. Because with about 72% of the vote,
wow.
Jizzle James
moves
moves on.
That's high.
Yeah.
I would have thought that would be 50-50 toss-up.
Good. You Wilkes family. Go away.
Attention horse.
I
think that the Google Doc people understand us better. Because I think this one was maybe the other way around too. I think we had more, maybe I don't think Olive Garden had one, but it was very close on the social media.
You think Olive Garden's going to get in on the baby's name?
They should.
Somehow?
They should. They should send them free breadsticks.
I mean, if you're
for
naming
sure.
your baby Olive Garden and posting it everywhere, you should expect some kickbacks.
That's what they're trying to do. Do
what
not
they're-
feed the fucking animals.
I would go the other way. If I was Olive Garden, I'd be like, no.
Sue them.
Yes.
You owe us
We
money.
have that trademarked.
Yes. If
Every time he
song-
writes his name on homework, you owe us $10.
if songs can have a general kind of feel, that means that it's mine.
Yeah.
You stole the feel of my song. Not the lyrics, not the notes, not the tempo, just the feel.
Yeah, the groove.
But this just has an I in it, and then it's fine. Get out of here. Get that baby out of here.
Well, that's Oliver, not Olive.
See you later, Oliver.
And in our final matchup,
Okay.
the maximum amount of wiener,
Oh.
Nice.
Max Wiener,
Or not, no, not, no.
Mm,
Not, not
Max Wiener.
Max Wiener.
versus Atticus Sappington.
Okay.
11 seed. It'll
11
upset in the
seed.
first round from
Yeah.
Atticus.
Okay.
Well, it ends here. Another crushing defeat. 69%
For
to
the
the wiener.
That's not maximum though. That's lower on the list there. That's surprising too. I would have thought that this one could have been an upset as well.
Yeah.
69 is maximum.
69 is perfect. All right, so that puts us with our matchups. We have got Soon Bang versus
Burly Beaver.
Justin Burly
Yes.
Beaver. Wow.
Soon bang Burly Beaver.
Oh, wow. We might just combine them.
Against Jizzle James, Max Wiener.
Thank you, podcast listeners. Oh, man. Couldn't have gotten it. Bang that beaver and jizzle that wiener. All right. All right, folks, that's enough for this episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next week, we will be back with movies. Too many. Iron Man, Dark Knight. God, there was just a list of them. It was just endless. I can't even think of any of them right now.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
We
Gotta
are
talk Tropic Thunder.
We are watching Tropic Thunder.
We have to listen to the DVD commentary for that.
Yes.
Because as far as I know, because in the movie Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr.'s character says that he doesn't drop character until they do the DVD commentary.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure in the DVD commentary he is in character.
Oh, God, please. Please, Lord, please. So that's happening next week, and then we'll be back after that. We'll go into our regular rotation of the draft, news, and game. And then, folks, like we said, we're going to do 2 in a row that are movies from anything before, or excuse me, everything 2000 to 2009, and then a second episode of everything prior to 1977. And so those will be 2 movie-packed episodes. So we got our work cut out for us. But that'll be after a few weeks. We'll get back into, again, the draft. Send that over to us. If you've got an idea for a draft that you'd like to see us do, those are becoming our most popular episodes. I've had multiple people come up to me and say that those are the episodes that they like the most. So
All right.
if you've got an idea for a draft, shoot that over to us, and we'll get that started. And then, of course, Scotty with the news and a wonderful game. And then, here we go. Kevin Yeager will be on. So if you've got movies from anywhere from 2000 to 2009, if you've got movies from anywhere before 1977, send those over to us, and we'll get started with those as well. You guys ready to get out of here?
Yes.
Let's go.
And with that, we're done. I just want to say super fast about Wipeout. First of all, somebody died.
They had a heart attack.
Oh. Because I was like, the problem with Wipeout is that it is the cushioned version of Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah.
Like Takeshi's Castle, the whole reason why it's awesome is like, nope, that's concrete.
But Wipeout is all like, you remember the Jackass movie where they have him like read this thing that's in really tiny letters, and then a fist, a boxing glove comes out and punches him in the face.
Always funny.
That's Wipeout.
Okay.
The Wipeout is nothing but people getting smacked in the face, or just hit from behind and knocked into stuff.
Yeah.
So it's less about accidents and,
Sure.
and more just we're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Contraptions are going to knock you out.
Yes, and without the dubs, right? Without the fake dub, it's just not the same. I will say this though, this to a follow up to our other short that we put out there. One, I just remember liking this show. I'm amazed at how many people love this show. So first of all, thank you to the listeners for that. People love this show. Second of all, the thing I found really crazy is most of the comments on this show are either I love this show or I used to watch this show with my grandma, grandpa, or dad.
Really?
Yes.
Multi-generational entertainment.
Unbelievable how many comments on MXC are from people that said, I love this show. Me and my dad used to watch this. I love this show. Me and my grandpa. And the one I loved, and there was countless people saying this. Me and my grandma used to watch this show. It's like, that's awesome. That's when you know you've got a real hit product.
Yeah, well, I mean, fall down, get hurt. Classic funny.
Granny go boom.